So, update number 3. So the carburetors went back in and the airbox over the weekend. As I said, I cleaned them out. Still haven't done anything with the timing on it yet because I was speaking to a guy who knows a bit about these 650s and about the timing, and he basically said to me that my problem is related to these things I was showing you earlier on, where there was a bit of melting going on from overheating, and he says that's related to just the timing being off. It's either one or two things: the timing being off or a low battery. But this is basically a new battery, so it's probably done previously. What I've done since, actually, apart from sanding down and spraying the swing arm, I've actually mocked up the back wheel, the spoke wheel, to see did it fit. Spent a lot of time looking on different forums, trying to find out what's the best way to do this. But I think the problem is very clear and evident. It's got to do with this space. And when you put the wheel in, you're left with basically too much space. The other wheel and the hubs basically are wider, and for that reason you're left with this space. Now, of course, I can't just fill that space. I need to make sure that this sprocket obviously is aligned with the front one. I know it's further down the line, but I just wanted to mock it up and see. And of course I sprayed the drum and did a few bits on this as well, so you know, it's going to come up nice. But you know, if I don't get this right, the chain is just going to keep coming off, which wouldn't be good. So what else was I working on? Yeah, as I said, I put it all back together at the weekend, trying to get it into some running shape. Hold on a sec. Fires up, no smoke coming out of anywhere, which is a good sign. Still getting air blown out from underneath. Yeah, I'm still getting air blown out from underneath the exhaust, but I'm not going to take them off yet. These screws here just won't budge, so I got a new friend this evening. Yeah, Mr. Impact Driver. That'll help me take him off. I think either that or I'm going to put a hole through it. So what's next? Strip it all back down again, take out the airbox, take out that, and take off the carbs again. Because even though I know that they're clean, I'm going to change out all the valves. And I'm probably going to take the opportunity to change the needles in this to basically facilitate pod air filters. Stupid mistake the other day. Spent about 2 hours trying to figure out why the bike wouldn't start. Went through every connection that I disconnected, put it back in, checked every reconnection, checked the battery, and I was at a loss. I couldn't figure out why the bike would not start. Put the battery on a charger and again wouldn't start. So I sat down and started to just clean some stuff for a couple of bolts and stuff, and I realised, well, maybe the side stand is down, or the side stand switch. But I realised the side stand was up and I didn't touch the switch at all. And then what a stupid moment where I realised I didn't actually pull in the clutch because the bike was up high on the stand. And 2 hours later, after putting the battery back in, pulled the clutch, and the way she went. What a numpty. Anyway, lesson learned. So yeah, had to go with the spokes as well, like taking on Tommy's suggestion. I actually went about cleaning this. As I said, from the outside it started to come up good, and I actually took out 1 or 2 of the spokes and they clean up really well. But unfortunately, these spokes are not so good. So to Tommy's suggestion, I might learn how to relace these again. But it still doesn't take away from the spacing issue. This here, I was trying to get the 650 hub, this one, to see could I fit into there, and therefore that'll remove away my space issue, and it'll make the alignments pretty spot on. But there is a bearing retainer in there that needs a special tool, it's a four sprung. There's a four prong tool that you need to turn. It's reverse thread, so you have to undo that before you're able to get at the drive rubbers there to take them out and replace them with that one. That's a bit of a bastard to do, because what I've read was that you have to drill out. They basically, on assembly, they punch the holes down through them to basically lock it into place, so you have to drill them out. And that just sounds like a bit like torture, and if you get it wrong and you drill too far, that's effectively the wheel effect. So I don't know, I'll play around with that. I have enough to keep me busy anyway. I'm going to place an order for these two. Now, there are replacements for it that I found online. There's actually a guy online that's selling these for 80 quid, and he has the nerve to sell them showing the back of them where it's all melted. Who in their right mind would buy them? The replacement ones, though, I haven't read any reviews to say, you know, when you put them in, they work perfectly and they match wire for wire. So ideally, I'd like to get a replacement set of these identical, but because they're guts of 40 years old, it's very hard to find them. So I understand my timing issue and my acceleration issue on the throttle is related to these. I'm really hoping that's the case. I've no choice but to replace them. You can't fix them, you can't repair them. I thought by just putting a proxy compound on the back by sealing them, but I've been informed that basically the electronics on the inside are basically degraded because of the overheating that's there, and it's just inevitable that these things are going to cause me trouble. So I need to buy two more, put them in, run the bike again, check the timing, and so for the purists of you, look away now, because my plan of action over the next while is to cut here on both sides and chop that end bit off completely. I'm going to mount the battery. I've decided I'm going to basically mount the battery and move the cables up and the electronics up into here. Put on a new set of indicators somewhere. Like, I know that will probably go against somebody saying, you know, you're chopping a perfectly good frame, but you know, I want this to be different in more ways than one. You know, by changing the wheels, if I can, it is going to be a different type of bike, so it won't be in the pure scheme of things as 650. That's it. As I said, update 3, I reckon I'm going to have a load of more updates as time goes on, but sure, that's part of the crack.